and I told her, I it's the first time I experienced prophesying.
So today I'm going to talk about something that I really think might be useful to somebody. Abamu abantu bamanyi okugamba nti bwe bagenda mu makanisa bagwa ebigo, ate ebigo ebyo ng'abasumba abamu babasindika, bakusindika n'ogweri oba engeri emu bakoowoola emizimu ne gibasisinkana. Naye nze nga nze ndinako experience ennene nnyo. So in this experience, what I have been going through in my Christian life, I was born a Christian, and during my young age, around Form 1, that is around 15 years, 15, 16, I started reading the Bible. So, in reading the Bible, I used to search for God. I went to Catholic religion, I couldn't find what I wanted. I went to Seventh-day Adventist, I couldn't find what I wanted. And later, I had to say, now where do I start? I joined Born Again Christianity. So, before, those of you have seen in my former videos, I used to have dreams about Jesus Christ, and I used to get some writings from the sky that would help me. But when I learned how to read the Bible, those things stopped. But as I was trying to see them in a way that many Christians may think, there are things that were happening, and many people may think that they are not real, but I saw them with my own eyes. And those that happen to them, those things that happen to them, they think it's not there, or it's just maybe they are hungry, they haven't eaten since morning, since morning when they went to church, and that is why those things are happening. But for me, I'm the live example. My first encounter, I went to church with a friend. When I reached there, so this powerful man, they always say powerful man of God, I fell down and even started telling the ushers, why don't you touch people very well? So I went out, nothing happened. Then I continued going to church. My first thing was, I had this thing on my face from childhood that whoever would see me would think I'm a grandmother for my stepmother, for my husband. I'm a grandmother for my own children, and grandmother for my 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 surrounding. And that was around 15 years, because the first person to tell me that I'm old as my grandmother was a friend from the village. So we are talking. Then he was like, but me, when I see you like a grandmother. And that guy, we were on the same age. And I was like, okay. I thought maybe since he's a boy and what he had told me, I had not accepted it. That's why he said it. As time went on, I have a sister whom I follow. And by then, she was around 22. I was around 19. She told me, you look like your grandmother. You look like a grandmother. And everyone, all my friends, they say you are too old. Remember, she's the firstborn. In the middle, there is another child who died, then me. Then, on the side of my father, there is a firstborn, secondborn, and the thirdborn. Then me, the fourthborn. But all those were like, I'm older than them. You know, as a young girl, I didn't take it serious. But I would ask myself, why is it? Is it that I don't look after myself, or is it that they just want to abuse me? I kept it, but it was really hurting me inside. I kept it. Then during my study, I was a good chance I was in girls' schools. I wasn't in boys' mixed school. I was in girls' schools only. So I stayed there for a long time. And during those years, I had the same problem. And whenever I would be in the market or anywhere, they would say, you are very old. There is a time when I went to Wino market, that is St. Mary Kudembe market, and people were discussing my age. So they called me, Mama Whitten, Mama Whitten. First come, I came. Then they asked me, how old are you? As I, why do you want to know my age? Because for me, I know that even if I'm old, I cannot be older than my dad, or older than my mom, or older than my grandmother. And by that time, I was 32 years. 32 years. But I heard them discussing. I tried to listen to what they were talking about, and later they called me, they asked me, how old are you? And they were like, I think you're 65 years. I was like, is it what you want me to hear? Then I said, yes, that is what you want to hear from me, that I'm 65. But by then I was 32. But they said I was 65. So I continued going to church. But one time I went to church, and the pastor, by then, he was a young boy around 25. I won't say his names. He's in Uganda. He told me, he gave me a mirror to check, to see myself in the mirror. And when I looked at myself, I looked very, very, very old, and I feared to touch the mirror. He told me, look at yourself in the mirror. I said, I'm not going to see myself in the mirror. And by then, Mirrors were there, but I wouldn't see my face. I would only see my hair and then move on, which is so funny and shocking. How can a person not look at herself? So I did what the pastor told me the third time: look at yourself in the mirror. The ushers got the mirror and told me to look in the mirror. And when I looked in the mirror, I saw myself as me, and I saw someone on the side that I could not see very well. So he said, okay, put the mirror on the side. He prayed, and you know, these hands, they were so stiff that I started scratching my face, and every part of the face, turning it like this, facing it like this, scratching. And I had nails. They even, I started getting some scratches of blood out of my face. But the pastor continued praying until my hands got off from my hands. So the ushers were like, no, let us not touch her hands. I mean, let us touch her hands so that she doesn't scratch the face. The pastor said, no, leave her. I was like, the whole face. And when the service was done, the rest left, and I remained there crying, touching my face, and it was so painful, full of fire on my face. And you know, I looked like an old woman. Then afterwards, he told the usher that give her the mirror. He asked me, what do you see? I said, I look at a brown person. And by then, people would abuse me. You bleach yourself, you, that color is not, you know how they abuse brown people. And the most surprising, when I looked myself in the mirror, I couldn't believe what I saw. My face was so clear, only that I had some bruises of my nails on my face. Like after 2 days from that prayer, I saw people, eh, Mama Whitney, you look fine, you look beautiful. What happened to your skin? What happened to your body? And I was like, what happened? You look so good. And I was like, huh? I went and checked myself in the mirror. And by the way, all those years I was not seeing my face. I would look at the hair and go without checking on my face to see how I look like, and I wouldn't even, I would smear my face with Vaseline, but I wasn't minding whether I'm a human being or whether I'm a girl or a boy. I wasn't minding about my face. And I would ask myself, why is it everyone is abusing me that I'm old, I'm old? From that day, my face changed. It started changing. I had black, black things for the sunshine, because I used to sit on the sunshine. They started disappearing, and it never had pimples, but wrinkles. It never had pimples, for your sake, but wrinkles everywhere. So I left. It spent like 2 months. As I was coming, I was going to Freedom City in Uganda. I sat in a chair in a taxi with a certain lady. I never knew that lady. She was like, hello, how are you? I am like, I'm fine. How which Vaseline do you use for your face? I thought maybe it had some, again, wrinkles, but I said I only use Vaseline. And she's like, your face is so clear that I really wish I can have the face like yours. I was like, what? What are you trying to talk about? When I looked at her face, she had all the pimples. And me, ever since I was born, I never had pimples, but I had wrinkles like an old woman. Every part of my body, it had wrinkles. Even here, I had wrinkles everywhere. So, from that day, my body has been improving. My skin has been improving. As I told you the last time, I also had a teeth that came out at 37, and I got another teeth. And I think there, God was paying for the abuses that I had got when I was still young. The abuses of someone telling you you are like a grandma, when even the children I produced, they haven't produced their own children. And getting old is not bad, but there are times when people feel they want to suppress you, to put you down. And when the pastor was praying for me, of course there were some reactions through the words. No, that face should have to look like an old woman. I bewitched her so that no one can see her. I did this. And I was like, okay. Now, even my husband himself, he would say like, I don't like your face, but I like your body. And I was like, how do you like the body and you hate the face? And whoever would look at me would say, that woman is tough. Mere looking at my face, mere look. Others would love me like, if you want to become my friend, they would first reason themselves, can I be a friend? The looking at me for the first time, a person would just hate me like that. And I was asking myself, why can how, why why should a person go to the extreme to go and bewitch someone or do something to someone's body? I have produced children. I know how I love them to be so good, how I love them to look good. Then you go to the extreme and get whatever you get to give it to that person. So I was wondering, why was that thing on me in the first place? What had really happened that at my teenager I was too old? Then after the prayer, my face came back. The wrinkles, yeah, when you look at me now, this is the figure for an old woman of 50s. And by the way, I haven't reached 50. But when you look at me, this is the age and size of an old woman. But growing up around 13, 14, 15, 16, up to 40, up to 40 years, you are being abused, you are being mocked on how you have an old face. And I really used to ask myself, what happened to me? And even people would would tell their daughters or their sons, don't associate with that old woman. People, you are joking with life. I had a friend, I had her mom telling her, why do you associate with an old woman like that? And by then, she was 26, I was 25. You see how far God has brought us? God has brought us all that far. Katonda twisiza wala 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 wala. God has brought us all that far. From those times, I had also that inferiority complex that I shouldn't take photos, I shouldn't take I couldn't take photos, I couldn't be on social media, I couldn't do anything, just because I had that inferiority complex that was instilled in me by many people who were saying that you look like you're not looking like my grandmother. It is good to look like my grandmother, but to be a grandmother for them. You get the point? Someone would even quarrel from nowhere. No one can even marry you because you're too old. My eldest sisters would even tell me the same thing. They would tell me. There is a time when I was even more confused. I went to visit one of my eldest sister. You know, you can pretend to be young, but when your mother has produced you, she tells you, I produced you in this year, and the other one this year, and the other one the other year. But my eldest sister, whom I followed the third time, she even told, we went somewhere, and we met her friend, and she's like, oh, come and greet my eldest sister. She's my eldest sister, come and greet her. And I was like, you are older than me 3 years, and you're telling me I'm your eldest sister? You see, to make matters worse, they even told my husband, who is older than me, they would tell him, you married an old woman. An old woman. But before I got him, I asked him, how old are you? How old are you? And he told me. That's why I went with him. But they would tell him, you made a mistake, you married an old woman. He is fit to be your mother. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? How could you get married to an old woman? And for your own information, even on my wedding day, 2020, they said, we thought your husband was younger than you. That's what someone told me. I thought your husband was young. Was I defiling my own husband? This is so funny, but there are things you need to remember. And when I look at this environment that I'm in, at least I'm so happy that I spent a week in the house without anybody complaining about my age, complaining about my body, complaining about my face, complaining about everything that is surrounding me. At least New Zealand is a quiet place where you move in your own car. When you're going to buy something, you don't talk to anybody. You just pick something from the supermarket, go and pay for yourself. On the counter, there are some computers there where you pay. You don't talk to anybody. If you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't. You just go, shop, pay for yourself, then continue. You spend even a month without talking to anybody, without listening to people's words, without listening to anyone giving you negative energies around you. I really thank God for that. And when I read the Bible, I was reading somewhere where David was in desperate situation. In desperate situation. And I really thank God that everything is for the glory of God. And when you look at it, the lamb who was killed is worthy to receive power, riches, wisdom, strength, honor, glory, and praise. So I really thank God that everything was for the glory of his kingdom. All the suffering that I went through, all the abuses I went through, all the mocking that I went through, Jesus brought me back to life. I really thank God for that. Thank you, my viewers. If you want more stories, subscribe, comment, and like. I'll be adding more and more. There are many things to talk about in this life. So always watch and subscribe as you ring the notification bell. Thank you.